Hello, in this continuation we'll keep exploring pivot tables. In this video we'll cover how to modify number formats, how to change the pivot table layout, how to insert totals, grand totals and subtotals, and how to edit the pivot table if the edit window doesn't disappear. Let's begin. Notice these values are numbers, so we'd like to see them in thousands format. For this, right-click, select number format, choose number, then the thousands separator option. Here are the options. I prefer the one with parentheses and red for negative numbers. Click OK. Everything in the total sales amount will appear like this. But if you look at the unit cost and total cost amount, it's not showing. Why? Because we need to do the same there too. So I'll right click here, select number format, choose number, and set it to separate thousands. Okay, then I'll click OK. With that done, the total cost will now appear in thousands format. Okay, we're not limited to just thousands format. Let's explore other options we have. We can set it to currency. For dollars, we can use the default option or choose our preferred currency. There are many currencies available. Just start scrolling and you'll see them all. In this case, I want to keep it as currency. We also have decimal places where we can set how many decimals to show. Here I want 2. Other options include counting, date, time, percentage, fraction, and scientific notation. If we want this to be text, which I don't recommend for numbers, we'd need to use number-related options. For custom modifications, let me know if you want to learn about creating customized and special formats. In this case, I want to keep it as a number, so I'll click OK. For the custom unit, I also want it as a number. We'll set it in number format and number, and I just want no decimals. I'll click OK, and as you can see, only whole numbers appear now. To adjust column widths, I'll select all and use the shortcut Alt-H-O-I, which will adjust each column to fit its content. Now let's add more zones. We'll select all, then click OK. Here we'll see all the zones and countries. We'll also look at total sales, both offline and online. We'll be able to see all total costs, offline and online, as well as the unit cost for offline and online sales. If I select here and don't see the pivot table field, I need to go to Pivot Table Analyze and click on Field List. When I click Field List, we'll see the same view as before. I'd like to lower the unit cost a bit to show sales costs and unit costs first, or actually I don't need the unit cost here since we're dealing with totals, so I'll remove it. Last but not least, we can design this pivot table. For example, I could go to the design section. Here we have subtotals. If I don't want to show them, or if I want subtotals at the end and for each group, for example, if I select design again, we also have grand totals. Grand totals are on the right and sum up the entire pivot table. Here's an example. I don't want it in columns or rows, but here I want it in both columns and rows. In this case, I had it only showing rows, and now I want it to show columns too, so it's going to sum up all the columns. OK. Now, as you see, I selected that, but it removed the rows. Why? Because in Design Grand Totals, I set it to show only columns. If I want both, I'll select on rows and columns, and now we'll have it in both rows and columns. Note, to access editing, always select the pivot table first.